Welcome to Between Two Speakers. I am Randy Ford. I'm a writer and storytelling strategist for First Story Strategies.
And I'm Marianna Swallow. I go by Mare. I am a storyteller, but I'm also a public speaking coach and business and professional speaking instructor at Loyola University. And today we're going to talk about something that lots of people struggle with, myself included, but that's very important. And that's your bio, whether it's on your website, whether you use it as an introduction before you speak, or even at an event like a storytelling before you take the stage. And Randy and I have talked about this a lot. Randy actually, as part of his work, helps people write better bios. And if you want to check that out on his website, it is at firststorystrategies.com/your-bio. We'll put the link up again at the end of our talk. But Randy and I have been talking about this for a long time, right, Randy? And
Yeah. And it feels like a boring topic, but that is because they have become so boring. At some point,
yes.
we got in our minds in the business world that this is what a bio looks like. This is it, and this is the structure. And when it's time to do
Absolutely.
my bio, I need to follow the way that everybody else has done their bio instead of using it as an opportunity to tell your story.
Yeah, and I love what you just said, the opportunity to tell your story, because that's what I get. There's two things that drive me crazy. Number one is the grocery list bio. You know, so and so is a name of job. He did X, he did Y, he did Z, he did A, he did B, he did C, and it gets repetitive and boring. So that's my first pet peeve. My second pet peeve is when it is just very grocery listy and prescriptive and saying you did this, you did this. There's no personality to it. And when I'm looking at bios, whether it's for a storyteller or when I used to produce conferences, I want to see the personality come through. And, what sets you apart from the other people who do storytelling? What sets you apart from the other people who teach fiction or teach public speaking for that matter? And if I don't get a sense of what you're like or what you're like to work with, and it's just one of those grocery listy bios, I tend to pass.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So that's what I've seen. That's what drives me nuts. What have you seen, and what suggestions do you have for how to make that better?
I think what is when you see that laundry list of stuff, I think sometimes that maybe your mom would love that. Your mom would love to see this reminder of which degrees she helped pay for and all of the jobs that you've had. But as a customer or a potential customer or somebody who wants to work with you, whatever, it doesn't always show me what you can do for me.
Mm-hmm.
What is our relationship going to be like? Yeah, it's impressive if you did all of these things. I notice it. I did an event recently with Robin Robinson, who's a longtime anchor here in the Chicago area.
Mm-hmm.
And somebody introduced her, and she came up and she said, "Thank you for using the short version of my bio. Sometimes I have to stand here while people read all of it, and it sounds like I cannot hold a job." And it's because
Right.
she has had such a distinguished career.
Right.
But when it feels braggy about it, it is, she says it starts to kind of feel the opposite.
Right.
So,
And you, can I interject? You pointed
yeah.
out something. She said, thanks for using the short version. Usually I just have to stand here. And I think what people forget, if they just pull the bio off the website and read the entire contents, the speaker, two things. It's taking air out of the presentation because the audience came to see this person speak or hear what they have to say about topic X. And now whoever's introducing them is reading this long list of items. So it's boring for the audience, but also the speaker is just standing over here like, on when do I get to take the stage? So that's problematic too.
As a speaker, if I'm working with an organizer who's open to it, I like to write a separate bio just for that, so that they are not pulling from the website. They're not, adding what they think is important. Because if you do it strategically, you can start to get your content in there.
Mhm.
You can start to get your actual speech into that bio portion, and kind of be sneaky about how you're starting and what information you're already presenting.
Yeah, and I think we should, a little self-disclosure here to everyone watching. I actually hired Randy to do my bio because even though it was okay, it was probably better than okay, but I just felt like what I had on my website, which I had worked with another writer before, it didn't really capture my story and what's unique about me when you work with me. And Randy, you sit down with someone when you help them with a bio and you actually ask a series of questions. Can you talk about that process a little?
Yeah, I find that for all of us, it's tough to talk about ourselves, and it's for me as well. It's tough to talk about myself.
Hmm.
But if you are able to have that conversation and just say, well, like, why does that matter? Why do you care about that?
Hmm.
I recently worked with somebody in the financial sector who needed a new bio, and a very cut and dry, frankly, boring financial sector job. But he had a lot of passion for it and is in it. I say boring to me, but he had a lot of passion for it, loved it. But the more we talked, he started telling me about all of these other adventures he's had and previous jobs that took him all around the world. Um,
Hmm.
and we decided that really that was part of what was driving his understanding of the economy and of the way people spend money, invest money in a way that he is able to bring that back home and use that for his clients. So we talk about that in his bio as
Yeah.
opposed to just awards that he's gotten. There are some industries I will pick on realtors in general, nobody specific, but very often I will see listings for, in directories for people who include a whole host of awards and things that they've gotten. And again, very impressive. But
Hmm.
if I am looking to move into my dream home in 2020, it is not necessarily helpful for me to know that you sold the most units in your agency in 2017.
Right.
So updating that to get to what is, and I have to go through that to get to the parts that actually might resonate with me. So that's, a little frustrating. And I feel like we're just talking about the don'ts,
Right.
but
So how about some do's?
yeah, yeah, absolutely. So the do's are number one, yeah, keep it short. And sometimes you might look at that and feel like it should be longer because other people's are longer, but those other ones are not being read all the way through. Like you
That
really
is so true. So true.
you got to get to what's important and what people care about. That there's that great exercise that you do with people you work with, where you're like, okay, that you're telling me some information. So what does that mean? Why does that matter? And keep digging down to that kind of thing. So that's I walk through essentially that same exercise when I talk to people. And I think that's really what matters. It really, the best do is to start by thinking, who is this for? Who is going to be reading or hearing this? And um, what does it mean to them, not to me?
Hmm. Those are two really great points. Yeah, I completely agree because that's a good point to think about who's going to be reading this or where is it going, which is also why I think we touched on this before. If you are going to be speaking or presenting somewhere, there should be two versions of your bio, the full one that's on your website and then the short, like I think 3 to 5 sentences and not 3 to 5 run-on sentences that
Right.
you give to the organizer or whoever is introducing you.
Yeah,
Um, I've
absolutely.
already said it before, but yeah, waiting for a speaker or a storyteller to come out and the person is reading a list of credits. It's like, okay, it's great that you've performed at 16 different storytelling shows in Chicago. Yeah, clearly you're accomplished, but
Yeah, but I'm here for one storytelling.
exactly. I'm
I'm
here to
here
hear your story, not to hear your creds.
here. Yeah.
Right.
I used to work for a member of Congress, great guy, and one of the things that was an issue was that our political staff had weighed in heavily on what should be included in the bio,
Hmm.
specifically to make sure that we were hitting on all of the issues that were most pressing. And at some point, the congressman came to me and said, listen, this is too much. I'm standing there waiting to take the podium, and these people have cut and pasted this bio. And I know people are sitting in the audience thinking, there's no way he can do all of that.
Right.
If I want him to focus on what I want, and he's running around doing all of these things at once, I don't buy it.
Hmm.
Uh, so he felt similarly to how Robin Robinson did, that oversharing that information meant that it didn't really show that there were those specific things that he cared about and focused his attention on.
Right. Yeah. Well, thanks for those tips, Randy. I hope the audience uses them. But for anyone who's listening, again, I've worked with Randy. I can vouch for him. If you are interested in having Randy help you with your bio, please check out his website, firststorystrategies.com/yourbio. And if you want to see an example of Randy's work, you can visit my website. You can go to mariannaswallow.com/meetme. This has
Great.
been great. Thanks for talking today, Randy.
Yeah, I'm Randy Ford for Story Strategies.
And I'm Marianna Swallow, Emrangi and Associates. Happy speaking.
We'll see you next time.
See you next time.